Hey, beautiful souls, beautiful sunshine here with the Yard Holistic Healer, aka Sonia B. So I am back with a couple of quick prophetic messages. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the message, okay? So I do want to say before I do get into the message, if you feel like the message does not apply, then let it fly, okay? But even if you being divinely guided to listen to this message to the end, and just know that obviously either this message is either possibly going to resonate with you within the near future, or this message could be pertaining to someone else who is within your immediate environment. So keep that in mind as well too, okay? So the first message that I received was some of you guys are evolving and you're going higher, okay? So as you evolve and you're going higher, that means that the divine spirit of light is granting you with these gifts, and these gifts were not only meant to help yourself, but they're also meant to help other people as well too. So just be mindful, and you will know when you are headed in the wrong direction and possibly helping the wrong people, because one, you're going to feel like either spiritual attacks, and I do want to, let me say this, you're going to feel the spiritual attacks, or you may even experience a situation of, possible spiritual depression. Those are signs that let you know that you're headed in the wrong direction. But even so, there are going to be times that you're going to need to create boundaries with other people. And when you draw those boundaries, they're not going to like it. So because they want to be able to benefit off of you in a sense. So because you have boundaries now and you speak up for yourself and you stand up for yourself, sometimes people don't like that because they realize that they can no longer control, have authority, or any power over you, okay? So that's one thing to keep in mind as well too. So therefore, with that being said, they may be a little threatened and intimidated by your personal power, and they may try to send you spiritual attacks, okay? So I'm just letting you know, and if you should feel certain things after dealing with people, then that's letting you know right there that obviously these are some people that maybe you not want to necessarily give your time and energy to next time, okay? Because you shouldn't have to step into a person's establishment or business or be dealing with people to the point of they're trying to manipulate, control, hurt, or harm someone in the process, all for their own personal gain, okay? So anyway, but as I said before, some of you guys are going higher, and I just saw 222 as I said that. You can look that up. It has a spiritual meaning behind it, okay? So some of you guys are evolving and going higher. So again, as I said before, you're going to know, your spirit guides are going to tell you who to give your time, energy, and your effort to, okay? Because I'm sure you have learned on this journey by now, just because somebody comes up to you with a sad story does not necessarily mean that it's truthful, it's authentic, and it's coming from a place of love, because it is, and I just saw a notification, because sometimes these people have intentions behind the things that they do, and sometimes it's just hidden intentions that necessarily you, or we all don't necessarily know about. But again, this is why it's important to navigate with our intuitions, okay? Because our intuition was meant to keep us safe and protected, okay? And God gives us these gifts so that he can communicate with us, and our higher beings can guide us on our journeys to help keep us protected. Like when we have those gut feelings, okay, when we say our intuition is telling us something, or our gut feeling, or something doesn't feel right, listen to that feeling, okay? And I'm not talking about a nervous feeling, because that's just what I just heard. I don't know who needs to hear that, not the nervousness feeling, but yeah, just the gut feeling, okay? So anyway, so this next message came through. And there's something too about the teenage kids, so be mindful. So if you know somebody that's going to like a private school that's wearing, and even a school that's wearing some sort of uniform, something with like khaki pants and a light blue shirt, I saw it look like a child was facing downward, in a sense, like falling possibly off of a cliff or something like that. And I hope that doesn't happen, but I know that was just, the message that Divine Spirit Light was just trying to convey to me, in a sense of, your words will be able to kind of help that person, even though it's almost like that person had kind of fell in a sense, but they were facing down in a sense. But anyway, I say all that to say you may want to keep an eye on your teenagers, nieces, nephew, grandkids, or whatever the case may be. And I do want to say this at this time, everybody's kind of dealing with their own personal journey, because we're all learning different lessons. But I will say that now is a time to really kind of open up with your kids, in a sense, and and kind of speak to them and talk to them and really figure out where they're coming from. And not only that, but really have that inner dialogue with them, because they could be dealing with things that you have no idea that they possibly dealing with. And sometimes, and I just saw 444 as I said that, and you can look that up too as well too. And sometimes, they can be going through and experiencing things that you have no idea that they're experiencing. And usually that could be a situation of maybe something that you have experienced as well too, like in your childhood. So you really benefit by kind of opening up a little bit, but read the room when you need to, in order to be able to kind of help, you can kind of help them to heal as well too, because sometimes they don't always have the answers to certain things, but sometimes just by you speaking up, whatever it could be, pertaining to society, dealing things pertaining to family situation or family bloodline, maybe things inherited, whether it be positive things or negative things that was passed from one generation to the next, in a sense, all those things could really be helpful to, in order to give them kind of some insight of things that maybe that they possibly, are dealing with right now, that can kind of help them navigate through anything that they may be experiencing. So just be mindful of that. But I hope the kids stay safe. Okay, so this next message came through as there's like something with some sense of urgency. I got this like, like, oh my God, like hurry up. Like when you're trying to meet a deadline, I got this sense of urgency as I was waking up to write down this dream. So like somebody trying to cross T's and dot I's and get things in order, because I saw this. I remember like last year around about this time, I saw something that said you got 1 year until the date, in a sense. So I know the divine spirit of light is really causing some people to really get out of their comfort zones, to get out of their own way, to get out of these cycles, to get out of habits, to get out of patterns. And when you do that, you are basically healing your bloodline, which is another message that I also have to convey that I received last night. So when you're doing just the opposite of what you normally would do, you're helping to heal your bloodline in a process, okay? So I say all that to say, like, the sense of urgency was like, let's just say like, maybe somebody thought something was going to happen to them. So, oh my God, I got to make sure stuff is in order for, let's say, my wife or kids, or, it was just really a sense of urgency. I'm just giving you an example. It was just a sense of urgency. Like God was really like, come on. Let's go. So there's no more wasting time. At this point in time, it should just have the courage to move forward. Okay. So when you move forward, you're going to start to see how things start to unfold for you. But the longer you sit and stay stagnant because you feel like, oh my God, I don't know how this, let me just say that because Spirit is just telling me this. There's a point in time in my life when I was dealing with childcare, right? And I used to not tell, let's just say when I was in childcare and my mom and myself had our own childcare business, there were times where there would be kids that would act up, right? And I used to tell my mom, like, I was like, Ma, I really want to tell these parents exactly how their kids are after they leave, right? So that wasn't sitting right with me in a sense. And it's not that I was hiding anything or not doing anything, but I guess my mom didn't want it to come off like it was coming off like a negative situation. I didn't look at it as like a negative. I just looked at it from the situation of, if I'm dealing with your child, I need you to work with me. Kind of like a parent-teacher situation. I need you to work with me so that way we are both on the same page. So that way, not only are you reinforcing what I'm doing at home, but I'm kind of also reinforcing what you're doing at home too. That way we can kind of help each other. So I say all that to say, like, it was like God was lighting a fire underneath my ass, because he would allow me to become frustrated, and he would allow me to be like, oh, I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? I would be frustrated at the end of the day, not at the kids, but just at the fact that, you know what? I didn't even tell this parent, like, let's just say that their child was just doing this or doing that, whether it be spitting on somebody else or trying to bite somebody else, or, just as an example in a sense. So it got to the point that, God, he really was putting that pressure on me. And when I tell you, you can experience spiritual depression, you can, okay? Because God was like, he was turning up the knobs and having the kids to act out even more as a way to get me to speak up so I can get frustrated. This is just how God works, right? So as I would become frustrated, and then I was like, at the end of the day or whatever, it just got to the point that, and I was really feeling on the inside like I didn't want to say anything. Like I wanted to move, but I felt like I was stuck. I wanted to move and say something, but I felt like I was stuck. I wanted to move, but I felt like I was stuck. And then it was just like one day I was like, fuck it, whatever. So I went up to one of the parents and I just started from there. And then ever since then, I was just singing like a little hummingbird to, each and every one of the parents, because when I spoke up, it helped to liberate me because I was frustrated. the child was already frustrated, not with me, but just frustrated with their situation and circumstances. But the parent was just going on like, la 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 la, like nothing was wrong with her life. But I was the one that was frustrated. So I say all that to say that, the sense of urgency that God is placing underneath you, he's placing it there for a reason, so that you can get up, move, and get out of any stuck in stagnant energy that you may have had. And not only that, but maybe your bloodline may have been the same way as well too. So what you have to realize is, just because we have bloodlines don't necessarily mean that they're positive, okay? Because there are some negative aspects to it. So therefore, like I want to say, like, whether it was a situation with a parent or a grandparent, or they may have been certain ways, or great grandparents may have been certain ways. They say they've been stubborn, and then they say now you're here and you're stubborn as well too. Well, you weren't meant to move in that same direction, because you're here to heal your bloodline, okay? And not to keep that cycle going to the next generation. You're here to stop that shit and cut it in its dead tracks, okay? So yeah, just FYI. But like I said, there's like a sense of urgency, and the message I received this morning was, some of you will be healing your family bloodline, okay? Because you've been doing the inner work, and when you get up and move, you are healing your bloodline. Like for me, for instance, when I said I didn't want to speak up and tell the parent how their child was behaving, I was healing my bloodline every time I made a choice, okay? Every time I moved, I was healing my bloodline. Because let's just say, as an example, maybe a bloodline was kept quiet about things. They didn't say certain things. So if you keep that same energy going, in a sense, it's not going to work for you, okay? So anyway, oh, and then I saw this message of like, pay attention to your dreams as well too, because the way I saw this was, some of you guys are being revealed that there are certain situations, certain circumstances that you are seeing within your dreams of maybe how you have been, or maybe how someone else has been who is within your immediate environment or your family or close, proximity of you. But pay attention to that, because there are messages in there. So let's just say in your dream, if God, it was revealing that you had responded or been a certain way in a sense, like let's just say, like maybe if you weren't someone who stood up and saw something happening, but you just kind of sat back and allow it to happen, and you didn't do anything when you should have, in a sense. It's almost like God wants you to do the opposite, in a sense. I can't really tell you. I'm just kind of giving an example, because I don't know your dream in a sense. But, if I was to hear your dream, I'll probably be able to help you interpret your dream. But nevertheless, basically, kind of like that. So in other words, like if you were somebody who, if you were somebody in a dream, like I said, I told you, like if you saw something and you didn't say anything when you should have said something, when you should have spoken up, when you should have stepped up to the plate, and you behave like that now, and you do that exactly what you saw in a dream, now you are meant to do the opposite, okay? Anyway, so, and not only that, but some of you guys are seeing your past life with other people, okay? You're seeing your past life, and God is just kind of revealing some things to you, okay? And then not only that, but some of you guys are stepping into different realities, okay? As you step into different realities, it's like more things are going to be revealed to you, okay? In the process of doing it. Okay? So anyway, but yeah, once you step up and make that conscious choice, it's almost like you're dealing with a whole new timeline. So when we stay stuck and stagnant and sit, we find ourselves on the same timeline. The key is not to stay on the same timeline. The key is to be on a different timeline, because the higher the timeline, the more you're healing anything that you may have going on, or that's saw 333. Look that up too. Anything that keeps you stagnant and stuck, keeps you from, evolving and moving forward and going to a higher timeline, okay? So the key is for us to try to heal as much as we can before we leave this earth in this lifetime, so that way the next carnation, we'll have it a little easier, rather than having all that emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual imprint within our DNA to transfer over to the next life. So the key is to try to heal as much as we can in this lifetime, so that way the next lifetime hopefully will be a little easier, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. But with that being said, I wish you all much love, much light until the next message, okay? Bye.